Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Cruril coming at you with a not Pokemon Yellow randomized Nuzlocke. So, long story short, somehow I fucked up. I don't know how. I thought I saved the game, but I did not. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to go through basically from the time I got to Cerulean City and all that and get caught up. Now that I got that out of the way, you might be wondering, okay, this isn't Pokemon Yellow. What are we playing today? I wanted to showcase it. Sorry. Let's try that over. I wanted to showcase a new game that I've been picking up and playing here recently called Distant Worlds Universe. So, the premise of it is that it's a 4X game. Strategy, real time, and for those of you who don't know what 4X is, it's explore, expand, exploit, and exterminate. Essentially, you control an empire, you build it up, and you try to be the best empire you can by doing those four things. So, instead of yakking you off about it, I'll show you. So I'm just going to do a really simple game just to showcase it. I'm not going to make it ridiculous or anything like that. So you see here, you have different options to start a new game. You could even play as a pirate if you want, which I don't recommend for new people. Matter of fact, I don't even play pirate faction. I tried it the very first time I tried a new game and I'm like, wow, this is ridiculous, because instead of starting off the planet, you just start off with ships, and basically you gotta take whatever it is that you will end up owning. So I'm just gonna start as a standard empire. And you'll see here you kind of have a way of messing with the layout for the galaxy. I'm just gonna do medium size. Let's go ahead and do pre-war. Yeah, that's fine. And yeah, obviously you can have NPC pirates that might help or hinder you. And then obviously you can go through here and, sliders galore. So bump this down to 100. It suggests 80, but 100 should be fine. You can alien life, I believe that's looking at different independent colonies. And obviously colonization range, I'm just going to leave all that alone. And then you'll go through here and you can see the different factions you can play as. Sorry, I forgot. My button wasn't on. I like to play as the Dryad, is essentially what I was saying. You think I'd never done this before with the way I'm playing, with the way I'm recording today. Alright, so as you can see here, they're desert-dwelling insects that are a bit more war-oriented, which is fine. I usually don't war as that, but yeah. Jesus. Jeez, with the way I'm let's playing and typing, you'd think that I can't do anything today. It's actually kind of feeling like that. So then this is the last section here, the last screen being, okay, you actually get to choose your faction, what kind of government do you have, what's the name, etc., etc. And this is, hey, what about the other empires that you play against? You can generate. I usually like to generate starting empires, but you could also make custom ones if you wanted to. And then finally, right before you get started, you gotta figure out what's the game limit here. And yeah, I'll leave that alone. hopefully my blunders will stop from this point forward, so that way you can actually enjoy me playing the game as opposed to enjoy me being a goof. One of the things that I really enjoy about Distant Worlds, at least thus far, I haven't really played through an entire game yet, but from what I have played, what I really enjoy is just how much stuff you can do. So, we are Cobalt Army. You are a standard empire in the Age of Shadows. Pirates, smugglers, mercenaries rule the galaxy. Yada yada yada. Fun time. So as you see here, I start off in my own little solar system here with one planet. But as I zoom out, I can see my whole solar system. I can see the surrounding systems. And since I haven't explored those, they'll be mostly grayed out. But I can still kind of see what's there. I just don't know about everything. And then I can zoom out all the way to the entire map. And the thing is too is like even if you're not in a specific solar system, there's still stuff out there. Like you can still hang out in the area between the solar systems, between the stars. Of course there's nothing there, but yeah. Go ahead and zoom back in here and make stuff happen. So one of the first things I do when I hop in here is I look at the research. Obviously, a lot of civilization building strategy games have an extensive research system, and Distant Worlds is no different. One of the things that sucks, though, starting off pre-war, or pre-warp, rather, is that I can't even research the beginning warp technology. I have to find it before I can research it, basically by exploring ruins, by finding the remnants of another civilization that had already had that technology, and then I basically pick up in their footsteps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to queue up some research here. One of the best things to queue up early on is engines, because you need it, otherwise you're moving super slow. Of course, then again, everybody has their own play style. That's my play style. I like to get engines up because I like my ships to actually move with a decent speed. And one of the cool things about this game that I haven't really seen in any other games is that with this one, each of these three research categories is completely independent. My research in high-tech and industrial will not affect nor take away from energy and construction. They will all continue researching at their own rates. It's just a very in-depth game. I'm just gonna queue up some more research on this one. Another thing that a lot of what I've been reading on and what I sort of agree with that I've noticed is that people really recommend you work on your fuel storage pretty quickly too, because your ships, when they get low on fuel, have to refuel. But having more fuel storage and better fuel storage prevents that from being necessary. I haven't really messed around with gravic weapons. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna queue that up. Alright, that's enough research. Yeah, I just started off by building a spaceport, and then on top of that I also started building a high-tech research lab and a defensive base. Obviously you want to be able to defend your planets from attack. Since I don't have pirates on, it's a little bit easier, but still, if I make people upset, then it's going to be something I want. What I pulled up here was the Empire Summary. Basically, exactly what it sounds like. It shows you your empire at a glance. I mean, you could rename it if you want. You change the type of government. All sorts of fun stuff. And obviously, it gives you a breakdown on your state and private economy. Of course, I'm sure you're wondering why two separate there. Well, inside of your empire, there's actually two factions. The first being state, and the second being private. The state is everything that you directly influence. Those are the ships that you build, that you fly, that you control and assign their missions. Private, on the other hand, is your citizens, completely autonomous of what you tell them to do. They will build their own ships, and they do it with more of an economic focus in mind. So they're not really looking at like, okay, I'm going to build up an armada. The citizens don't do that. The citizens will build like mining ships and mine resources and bring them back. And transport. It's essentially what they do. Yeah, one of the things that kind of sucks for me is the button that I have my talk button mapped to is interfering with the game a little bit. But, I'm trying to make it work all the same. So what I pulled up here was the character screen. Some other games you'll recruit like generals or hero type units. That's essentially what these characters are, except they fill a number of roles. Troop general, fleet admiral, ambassador, leader, colony governor, scientist, you name it. There's a bunch of different roles, and they all work different ways. They have their own perks that help out in different ways. Like as you can see here, my leader, he increases diplomacy, he reduces colony corruption, all that fun stuff. I might get a different leader later on that changes that completely. And then, like my intelligence agent. Sometimes when you get new characters, you don't know their information right off the bat. That's because they haven't really done a whole lot yet. Which is why I don't really know what this character's skills are. So what I'm doing right now is just letting it build up. I'm actually going to go in here, see if something mapped to be, and try to unmap it. Huh, that's weird. Would have thought it would have been in the options menu. So essentially, I'm just going to let this build, and I'll make comments as necessary. And as you can see here, I got a new scientist. The only thing that upsets me about this character is that he has a negative modifier on the high tech, meaning it actually takes longer to research high tech research. Other than that, though, he's pretty solid. I was just curious, I wanted to check him out. And that sounded a lot more innocent in my head. So yeah, as you can see there, I completed all 3 of those techs at once. And obviously you'll get pop-ups from time to time too saying, hey, we've made this milestone accomplishment. In this case, I built a spaceport. So now I'll be able to build my own ships, as well as my civilians will be able to build their own ships as well. And I just said as well twice. I never claimed to be good at English. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to transfer my other scientists to the research facility as well, so they can both be in there. And it's saying, oh, hey, automation. So that's one of the things I have yet to mention, is that there are some aspects of this game that start off automated by default, meaning the computer will make the decisions for you that it thinks is best. And you have complete control over it. You can fully automate the game and basically just watch, or you can do absolutely no automation and you have control of everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn off automation for character locations, because I actually like to move them different places. Especially like scientists, I like to have them in the research facilities. It just makes sense. I don't know if that actually affects how well they do research or how the lab does research, but even if it doesn't make any sort of impact, that's my preference. It just makes sense. Why would you not have your researchers in a research lab? So now that the research lab and the spaceport are done, it's going to build the defense battery, basically. Alright, now that we have colonization done, I can show you something else once the game's done saving. Okay, so One of the big things of the 4X is expand. In this game, there are several different ways you can go about that. You can actually take infantry units. Obviously, you have to transport them by ship, but you can take your infantry units and actually conquer pre-existing planets' civilizations and basically subjugate them or assimilate them into your colony. You actually have a few different options there. Unfortunately, I haven't got to mess with all of them yet, but I have a general idea how it works. The other being that you take your pre-existing population, you actually move them to new planets, start up new civilizations there that are all a part of your empire. And that's what I'm going to do right now. So you see here, this shows me, hey, this is all the potential colonies based on what you have explored around you and what you currently are able to colonize. Since I start off as a desert-dwelling race, naturally we'll only be able to colonize desert planets right now. Later on, that'll change. We'll be able to colonize ocean worlds, continental worlds like Earth, stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to build a ship. It's going to take a little bit. As you can see, even at 4 times speed, stuff still takes just a bit of time. But yeah, essentially that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build up a ship, send it there. Yay, my first ship. Now, one of the things, the ship itself was completely automated, so I actually want my exploration ships to be automated. I want them to be able to go out, and I want to say, hey, go here, go here, go here. It just gets too tedious with all the other stuff I'm doing, so just, it'll start off close and then fan out as fuel and research allows. So that works for me. That was what I was talking about before. See, now I'll be able to colonize continental planets. And that is under the high-tech industrial. So you see here, okay, I got continental. So once I finish researching enhanced transport, then I'll start working on ocean colonization. Which, obviously, you can take a stab at what those kind of planets are. Think Waterworld. Older movie. Some of you might not even understand that reference. Yeah, as you can see here, I did finally manage to finish my colony ship here. So we're gonna go colonize that one planet. That one, matter. So yeah, now he doesn't even hinder high-tech research, he helps it. So my high-tech research between the two of them should be through the roof. And then I got a ship captain here, but I'm probably gonna use him later once I actually start getting into fighters. You can see here now I've managed to find one of those ruins that had the warp field precursor, so now I can research it. However, I think that'll have to be an achievement for next time if I decide to show this game off again. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please feel free to hit that like button. If you want to keep updated with more of my videos, please hit subscribe. I know I've been a little flaky on my schedule lately. I've just had a lot of real world stuff going on. I don't want to get into it, but I'm going to try and pick that back up, just so you're aware. Thank you, and goodbye.